Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Elko City Council meeting. The meeting is called to order, and I'd like to ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
All council members are present.
Would you then please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, which is going to be led by our own Steve Lockman. Steve, if you can come up. And after the pledge, would you remain standing for a moment of silence? Thanks. The city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the April 23rd, 2019 meeting and the agenda of the May 14th, 2019 meeting in accordance with state law, council, and housing authority policy. We have a few presentations today. First off, I'd like to invite Recreation Director Frank Carson to share with us a little bit about our upcoming America on Main Street.
Thank you, Mayor.
Hey, Frank.
Mayor, City Council, thank you for having me. To briefly introduce our America on Main Street event that is this weekend, Saturday, May 18, from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. The theme this year is Out of This World. It is fitting along with the 50th anniversary of the lunar landing, so we decided to do more of a space and science theme this year. We do have a space and science zone, which is new. We'll have a light show at the very end, which is a new concept, and some new rides that we haven't had before at the event. What we've had before, we do have some repeats, event favorites. So we have a pre-event that you're familiar with. We have the naturalization ceremony at 1:30 p.m. We have several amusement rides, actually about 12 total amusement rides, which we are very excited about. All of them are free. 3 stages with live entertainment at them, almost 30 acts, 12 countries represented. We have several street performers, such as the Old School Skaters, and I see the San Diego Kings representative here, Abraham. He'll be out there doing some of the street performances. We have cultural exhibits, crafts, and food booths. So in total, we have 6 continents represented. We even have a didgeridoo from Australia at the event. So the Space and Science theme, these are some of the highlights from our Space and Science zone. We do have the Reuben H. Fleet Space Theater there, the San Diego Children's Museum. We ordered a 20-foot wide coloring mural that kids will be able to do, will be supervised. We have the KNSD Drone Ranger coming out. Instead of a traditional petting zoo, being that we're Space and Science this year, we're taking a gamble and we're doing a reptile petting zoo. I don't know how it will be received, but it's a little bit of a risk is a good thing. We're going to have the Wyland Foundation's Mobile Science Lab, which is a giant trailer. Very excited about that. We have a 4th stage this year. It's not necessarily an entertainment stage, but it is on the Space and Science area, and we'll have space and science speakers, but also interactive activities on that stage, and then many themed rides such as the alien airlift, the parachute drop, a space shuttle obstacle course. So it tends to be pretty exciting. As in years past, we do have a scavenger hunt. The mayor was on KUSI this Saturday promoting the Taylor guitar giveaway and playing the Taylor guitar. Thank you for doing that, Mayor. And also our Rec Council donated several bicycles to also be given away. So between 2 p.m. and 6:30 p.m., people can participate in the scavenger hunt at the event, turn it into the information booth by 6:30 p.m., and then at 7:30 is when we announce the winners of the scavenger hunt. As always, this is also the 3rd Saturday in May, and the significance of that is Armed Forces Day. This specific year, we have pre-committed the U.S. Army, the U.S. Marine Corps, and the United States Air Force. The Navy is finding it difficult just because their large event is the following day on Sunday, and we don't know about the Coast Guard just yet, but we think they may be coming back again. This is featured here is just our Armed Forces Way booth right here, where we have about 8 total booths. Some of this is the USS Midway, the Elkhorn Veterans Commission, the American Legion Post 303. This event could not be done without some key sponsors, so Waste Management, the Downtown Elkhorn Business Partners, Parkway Plaza, the Barona Band of Mission Indians, the Sequan Band of the Kumeyaay Nation, SDG&E. We have Joe Britton here from SDG&E today. Thank you, Joe. And Kaiser Permanente also. Kaiser actually brings their giant health clinic to it. So right next to the Wyland Foundation Mobile Science Lab, we have a health clinic right there. So they'll be doing health screenings. And lastly, we want to thank the citizens of El Cajon as well as the El Cajon City Council for their support in this, getting a lot of community input on what they want to have at this totally free event. Our city manager's office, our purchasing division that does over 30 purchase orders, Mara Romano and Nahid Razi do a great job with that. This event could not be done without so many departments involved, our police department, Heartland Fire, and Public Works. So thank them all. And that's it.
Thanks, Frank. Let me see if there are any questions. Bob?
Yeah, Frank, you said it's completely free. You better let the people know they got to buy their food if they buy food there.
Thank you for the clarification.
Because,
so all
they
food
might come with nothing, and
right.
nothing in their pockets, and they'd expect to be fed or get something to eat.
Correct. Everything but food and drink.
Yeah,
so
okay.
all the rides, activities, entertainment is free, but you'll have to pay for your own food and drink.
And with the drink, there's no alcohol.
Correct, unless you go to one of the restaurants that are on.
Right.
Correct.
All right. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
All right, for our next presentation, I'd like to invite Dr. Cindy Miles. She's the chancellor of the Grossmont-Cuyamaca Community College District, and with her is somebody who's well known to us, Mr. Bill Garrett, used to be our city manager, and he's now on the governing board of the college district. Hi, Cindy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, council members, great colleagues, friends. Mr. Garrett is not only well known in this community, but greatly beloved in our college district, and a very, very wise man because he hired me. I'm ultimately grateful to him for his leadership. And we have Ann Kruger with us also, who is our Director of Communications and Public Information. And I am here, I'm delighted to come back and tell you today a little quick overview of the status of your East County colleges. And I have an instructional brochure that I'll leave with you, but I am a teacher for life, and so I know better than to pass things out before class because you won't pay attention to me and the program. You will be reading the materials. So I'll ask Angela to share these with you at the end. So how many of you have attended Grossmont or Cuyamaca College? Raise them tall and proud. Ladies and gentlemen, we are your colleges. Yeah, and if your hand's not up, do you know someone in your family? Have you hired someone who came to classes with us in Grossmont and Cuyamaca? And we'll see every hand in the room go up because we did research sometime recently that said 1 in 3 citizens of East County have attended our colleges, and we're very proud to serve East County. So you see here the overview of Grossmont and Cuyamaca College. Grossmont since 1961, serving about 18,000 students a year. Cuyamaca is the baby. It's only 41 years old. And it serves about 9,000 students every year. So, you look at the continuing education and the corporate training students that we serve. We're upwards on 30,000 students a year. That is more than the undergraduate class of San Diego State University. So the touch in our community is very large. We offer 150 degree and certificate programs. And we did an economic impact study not long ago that showed that every year we put $1 billion impact into this larger community from the increased earnings of our students as well as the direct district spending and the spending of our alums who increase their earning capacity by getting our degrees and certificates and the education that they have with us. So we're very proud of the economic impact in our community. We're also proud that we're a great value. So what you see in this slide is a comparative of what it costs to go to our colleges versus San Diego State or UCSD. And it's no surprise to you. I think everybody would assume that we are a better bargain. Did you know that it's 7 times less expensive to come to us than to San Diego State and almost 14 times less expensive than going to UCSD? So smart parents everywhere are sending their kids to us for the first 2 years of school and saving greatly on their kids' college education. It's a 50-fold cost with USD. And we're very, very proud of the fact that it's not just less expensive. The quality of education, I think, is incomparable. We have many of our same faculty members teach at our sister universities around here. And we know that our students, the data about our transfer students Students who come to Grossmont and Cuyamaca and then go on to San Diego State or USD, UCSD, they perform at the same level and in many times better than the native students who come up through the university system. So a great value on many regards. Here's a little profile of our students. We have more women than men, so you see 57% female. That's pretty common in college these days. Almost 60% of our students attend part-time, and most of them are working while they go to school. So that's one of the differentials with our community colleges and what we see in the universities. You may not know that a third of our students are returning adults over the age of 25. In fact, our average student age right now is 27 years of age. So we're not only helping those early graduates right out of high school get their start on their career training or college education, but we have a lot of returning adults coming back for career training with us as well. A third of our students are the first in their family to go to college, so we know what a difference that's making for them and their families, those ripple effects that you see with a college education. And almost 60% of our students receive some kind of financial aid. So we have the doors of opportunity are wide open for everyone who comes. The kinds of things you see our goals. I think you're aware of preparation for university transfer, but we have a lot of high quality certificate training for our career training as well. And we have people who come back to us on an increasing level, workers in our region who come back for what we're now calling upskilling. They have to have ongoing professional training, and they come back on a regular basis to get the certifications or additional training they've got. And then some of us just like to learn. And so we're there for individuals who like to come back for their lifelong learning interest as well. Here's a little profile of some of the career training programs that we have at Grossmont College. You may be familiar with our Administration of Justice program. If you go to one of the area hospitals, chances are that the nurses who take care of you or the cardiovascular technicians or the respiratory therapists were trained at Grossmont College. So many of those graduates. And I would hope that you've had the opportunity to come to one of our culinary arts dinners where our culinary students open up their kitchens and you can come in for a very modest price for an extravagant 7-course meal you don't want to miss. So watch for those advertisements. Here's some of the workforce training, the career education programs that we have at Cuyamaca College. You see them listed. You may know about our automotive technology program, but do you know that we have an online component where we have real-time virtual training of individuals in Imperial Valley taking automotive training courses with us at Cuyamaca College. We've just revamped. We have a water and wastewater training program. This is a major growing career field. Many in that industry are retiring out. We've done the research, and so we know that there's demand in that field. And it's a growing field. We know that, water is the new gold, and so we're training the workforce for those careers. And we've started, just this last year, we launched what we're calling a Center for Water Studies. So we have both certification, ongoing training, and degree programs in water and wastewater management at Cuyamaca College. Pretty cool stuff. We're paying a lot of attention to not just getting our students in, but getting them to completion. And so we're proud of the data that show that our degree and certificate production has gone up 27% over the last 4 years. So last year, at our commencement, we awarded over 5,000, it's like 5,500 degrees and certificates, and we're on track to meet that goal, and if not more, for commencement for this year. We're also looking at not just what we do, but how we do it. So we have some new programs that we want to make sure everyone is aware of. At Cuyamaca College, we have introduced what we're calling accelerated math and English. How many of you loved your math class when you went to college? Math is some people actually do love it, and I was a math faculty member, so I did love it. But math is the number one impediment to individuals completing a college degree. It is the number one reason people don't finish college, is their math courses. We've got research that shows it. So what Cuyamaca has done, they've completely revamped their courses. They no longer have 3, 4, 5 remedial courses. They're putting them in mainstream college-level statistics class with wraparound support services, just-in-time remediation, and we have increased the success of students taking math and finishing their college-level math 700% in the last 2 years. It's stunning. So if you've got somebody who can't get through college math, send them to Cuyamaca. We can help them. We've also got programs where, and Grossmont has been doing the lead in this statewide and nationally, in building what we're calling zero textbook cost courses. Right now, the cost of textbooks are more expensive than the cost of our tuition at our colleges. And it's a major impediment. So we found that students weren't buying their books. And it's a national phenomenon. It's a big problem because people aren't going to succeed and learn if they don't have their textbooks. So we have an initiative, and we have over 100 faculty members at Grossmont and Cuyamaca colleges who are building their courses with completely free online resources. And we're calling these zero textbook cost courses, and they're marked in the catalog. So when students register, they know that they won't have to pay an extra textbook cost. And finally, we were recognizing Grossmont College. It was awarded a special award this last year for having the third highest rate of all. There are 115 community colleges in the state of California. So Grossmont was ranked number 3 in the state for the production of what we call associate degrees for transfer. And so both of our colleges offer them. It's just that Grossmont had this enormously high rate of people achieving them. And what's important for you to know about the associate degrees for transfer, it's a special associate degree that guarantees admission to a CSU in the state. If you are awarded an ADT, we call them, then you are guaranteed a seat in one of the CSUs in the state, and you're guaranteed junior status, and you're guaranteed to finish your bachelor's degree in 60 units. So it's a wonderful thing. So we think of this as not just doing well, but we're better, faster, and cheaper. Do you know about our partnership that we have with the Grossmont Union High School District? Are you aware of our East County Education Alliance? It's been in place for 5 years. We're very, very proud of it. It's a marvelous partnership. We meet on a regular basis with the superintendent and his staff. Our board, in fact, next Tuesday, our board is meeting with the board of the Grossmont Union High School District. And this year we're inviting Mountain Empire School District to join us. And it's a signed commitment where we work together to build pathways to success out of high school and into college. And we're seeing how this is smoothing the way and really helping our students make sure they come. We started this a few years ago. We did research, and it was a little bit shocking to us. We learned that of the individuals, the high school students graduating out of our 10 feeder high schools in Grossmont Union High School District, 40% of the high school graduates were not going directly into college. I'll let that sink in for a moment. This is very important for our community, because 80% of the jobs that are going to give you a living wage, a middle-class job, require some kind of college or career training. So that is really the crux and the core of this partnership that we have with the high school district. So we were happy last year. We launched what we're calling the Community College Promise, meaning completely free tuition for students who meet the criteria that you see listed. Free community college. It's a wonderful thing. You have to be a first-time student, you have to meet these criteria, but we're also excited, and it does rely on state funding that was passed last year. We're excited that Governor Newsom has built into his proposed budget that we're monitoring and advocating for the dollars to make the second year of community college completely free as well. So watch for that and, get the word out. It's something that I think can be transformational in our community. We want to make sure you're aware that not only, I mentioned earlier, that people come back to raise their skills, this upskilling piece, but we also do work directly with a number of companies and organizations in our area. We have what's called a corporate college, so we can do customized training for local businesses, and you see some of the things that we do here. Everything from, don't you want to do HAZWOPER training? Doesn't that sound fun? Yeah, no? No takers? Okay, then we'll give you the harassment prevention. We have customer service training. If anyone needs it, cool stuff. We are also one of our key goals is to provide marvelous art, music, speakers, discussion for our community. And these are open and free for the most part, or they're very low cost. If you're coming to a theater production or one of the speaker series, we encourage you to know what's going on. And if you would like to receive our monthly newsletter to get, this tells you when those culinary art dinners are held, please, you can feel free to let me know or give your card or information to Ann Kruger, and we can put you on the mailing list to give you that information. And finally, I would leave you with a story of one of our current students, just to give you a little profile of you may have a conception of who comes to community college, but you may not be thinking about Kevin Bennett. So Kevin served recently 4 years in the Navy, and he's one of what we call reentry students, adults coming into college, and he's studying cardiovascular technology. So if you have to have one of those look-see down your heart tubes, he would be trained to do this kind of work. And his goal is to get that CVT training, very high demand job market, and work as a CVT technician in a veterans hospital. So it's individuals like that whose lives we touch we're very proud of. We're proud to be your partners. We thank the city for the tremendous work that you're doing. And I will be happy to ask Mr. Garrett to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Yes.
Let me see if there's any questions for you.
Surely.
Before you go. Yeah.
Well, first of all, Cindy, thank you so much for coming here.
It's my
I don't
pleasure.
know if you know it, but I was on the Grossmont Queen Maca Community College District Governing Board 20 years ago.
Well, I should have
Bill
recognized.
sits in my
I should
chair
have
now.
recognized that, Gary, because I did know that history, but I didn't know you then.
And I used to tell people Grossmont Queen Maca accepts the top 100% of
Correct.
applicants.
Correct, and we do very well.
It's the biggest bang in education in the United States, biggest bang for the buck in education in the United States. In fact, all three of my boys were in Grossmont Middle College, which is a high school that's on the Grossmont College
Right.
campus, and all three of them graduated from high school with more than 30 units in college.
Yeah.
And all three of them got accepted to UCs, 2 at UCLA and
Oh,
1 at
that's
UCSD. And they attribute their success in great part to their experience at Grossmont Middle College. You have fantastic teachers there, and I'm a product of Grossmont College.
Well, we're proud to have you as an alum, sir.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Dr. Miles, you have a retirement coming up, don't you?
I will be working through December, that's true.
Through December.
That's
Congratulations on a great career, and thank you for your contributions to the
Thank
city.
you. It's been a real pleasure.
One of the things that was a great benefit at Grossmont College back in the day was if you completed the general ed certification at Grossmont College, that was good enough for SDSU, and
Right.
you didn't have to take the additional classes, if there were any, to complete SDSU's general certification.
Right.
Is that still the case?
Well, it is and it isn't, and that's why we developed the associate degrees for transfer in collaboration with them. Most of the gen ed, and our counselors have to map this one to, it depends on the major, because SDSU has changed some of their major requirements. But for the most part, the gen ed does transfer in whole, but it's always important to talk to your counselor.
A good disclaimer.
Sure.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Exactly. All right, I'll leave your study materials and homework with you.
Before you go, one last question. You may have mentioned, I just missed it, but last time we met, you talked to me about the first year of college being free.
Right.
And did you mention that? I just missed it.
I did, but I was talking fast.
Yeah.
So that's our Promise program. And the stipulation is you have to be a first-time student, because it's the first time you come to college. You have to be a full-time student, and you have to sign up for, you have to at least fill out the paperwork for federal financial aid or the California financial aid. You know, it's just the regulations that came with the funding from the state. But absolutely, it's 100% free for our first-time, full-time students. And we're looking forward to the second year being free if the governor's budget proposal is accepted by the legislature in June.
It's great. All right.
It
thank
is
you.
great. It is great.
Thanks very
Thank
much.
you. My pleasure.
Bill, are you coming up, or are you just... All right. Thanks very much. Thanks for being here today. All right. Next, we have proclamation for Bike to Work Day. And I'd like to invite Frank Carson to read the proclamation. And I'd also like to invite traffic engineer Mario Sanchez and recreation services supervisor Susie Lowe to join Frank at the podium.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I want to recognize Susie and Mario for all their work that they're putting into Bike to Work Day. This is the proclamation. Whereas Bike to Work Day is a nationwide endeavor to educate the public about the benefits of bicycling and to increase awareness of and respect for bicyclists, the education of cyclists and motorists as to the proper and safe operation of bicycles is important to ensure the safety and comfort of all users. And whereas creating a bicycling friendly community has shown to improve citizens' health, well-being, and quality of life. as well as improving traffic safety, reducing pollution, congestion, and wear and tear on our streets and roads. Bicycle transportation is an integral part of the multimodal transportation system planned for by the city, state, and local transportation government agencies. And whereas the bicycle is an economical, healthy, convenient, and environmentally sound form of transportation, the San Diego region has more than 1,570 miles of bikeways with an average temperature of 71 degrees, making the San Diego region one of the best places in the country to go bike. And whereas Bike to Work Day encourages employers and commuters to go by bike on Thursday, May 16, 2019, now, therefore, I, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim the 16th day of May 2019 to be Bike to Work Day in the City of El Cajon. We further encourage residents and employees to recognize the importance of sharing our streets and highways with cyclists and to participate in cycling activities to whatever extent possible on Bike to Work Day and throughout the year. Signed this 14th day of May 2019.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Thank you.
You want to come up and speak too? Hi.
Hi, thank you, Mayor and council members. So Mari and I wanted to let everybody know that we will have our annual pit stop at Prescott Promenade from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. this Thursday. Rain or shine, right now we heard from Sandag that we're still on a go, so even though we might have a little drizzle on Thursday, and we'll have refreshments for everyone that stops by, coffee, goodies. We usually have about 125 people that come through our pit stop. We're one of two, only two in East County, so we're real proud of that, and I think it's our 19th year. It's the 29th year for Sandag and I Commute itself, for biking to work, and we just enjoy having people come by our pit stop. And make sure you go to iCommute to register. That's how you'll get your T-shirt. We'll be scanning barcodes for people who've registered on iCommute.
Wonderful.
Okay, any questions? And we've got our hashtags, so hopefully we'll be, there's a contest on who has the best pit stop, so hopefully our pit stop will get it, and we want everybody to come out.
What's going to make yours better than the others?
Just the fun people that we have, and the city staff that always bike in from Chula Vista. I mean, we have everywhere from Chula Vista up to, farthest is Carlsbad, so just the camaraderie with the city staff that come out.
That's great.
Okay, thanks, Mayor.
Thanks.
Just wanted to emphasize iCommuteSD.com if you wanted to sign up. As Susie mentioned, I think the weather's going to be good on Thursday. But otherwise, there's about 10,000 trips that occur throughout the county at the 100 pit stops. So.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks, Mario. All right. Lastly, we have a proclamation for the, we have a proclamation for National Public Works Week. Dirk Epperson's here to read the proclamation for us. And we'd also like to invite City Engineer Yasmin Ariano and Deputy Director Dennis Davies to join Dirk at the podium.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. It's my pleasure to be here today as the Director of Public Works for National Public Works Week 2019. Whereas National Public Works Week is a celebration of the men and women who provide and maintain the infrastructure and services collectively known as public works. Public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our residents' lives. The support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as wastewater, streets, stormwater collection, public buildings, and traffic safety. And whereas the year 2019 marks the 59th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association and is an annual reminder of the many ways public works contribute to our quality of life. The health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. The quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, construction, and maintenance, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works officials. And whereas this week seeks to enhance the prestige of the often unsung heroes of municipalities, the professionals who serve the public good every day with quiet dedication. In observance of this year's theme, It Starts Here, the City Council pays tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. Now, therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of the 19th through the 25th, 2019, to be National Public Works Week in the City of El Cajon. We further call upon all residents and civic organizations to recognize the vital contribution public works professionals make every day to communities all across America and to celebrate their quiet dedication and indispensable influence in our way of life. Signed this 14th day of May, 2019.
Nicely done, Dirk.
Why, thank you, sir.
All right, that's it. Okay, let me see if Dirk, before you go away, let me see if there's any questions. Bob, do you have a question?
I understand this Saturday you're going to have a lot of work to do after the America on Main Street.
You're understanding correctly, but we all are in it together. It's a citywide team effort.
Exactly. Thank you for what
Absolutely.
you do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. All right, agenda changes. Staff, do you have any agenda changes?
Mr. Mayor, no changes to the agenda.
Council members? Okay. That brings us to consent items. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or person in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council members want to pull any consent items? No. Staff?
No, sir.
Angela, do you have any speaker cards for consent items?
Yes, sir. We have one speaker, and it's for one speaker for item 4, 9, and 10.
Okay.
And that would be Ms. Bonnie Price.
Hi, Bonnie.
Thank you. I have one question for three of those. There's one new contract to be extended, and two contracts to be extended, and one new contract for professional audit services. And I'm asking to know whether these were subjected to competitive bidding.
Well, I'll let our city manager talk about this.
Mr. Mayor and the City Council, the items for number 4 and number 9 were open to competitive bidding, and there's a memo that's associated with those. The extension of the video production services was not. Part of the reason why it wasn't, it involves the city understanding what infrastructure needs we have from a video perspective. We're not ready to do that yet. We're hoping to do that in the next 2 years, and at that point we'd put that out to bid.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Thanks. Then I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent items. Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, we're now at public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority, or successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments related to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, City Council and Housing Authority members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be replaced on a future agenda. Angela, do we have any cards under public comment?
Yes, sir. We have 4 speakers. The first one is Joe Mackey.
Hey, Joe. Welcome.
Hey. First, I want to thank you for the certificate we got and the welcome we got donating the rotary clock today. It went very well.
That's a beautiful clock.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a very nice clock. But I would like to introduce to you Mayor Wells, Councilman Kendrick, McClellan, and Goebel, and City Manager Graham Mitchell, to introduce to you and through you to the City of El Cajon the new CEO and President of the East County Chamber of Commerce. This is Rick Wilson.
Hi, Rick.
Thank you, Mayor. Really excited to be here, to be a part of this team in the Chamber, and hoping to help everything I can with this community out here in East County. Just really excited to be a part of this team and to be coming here and doing what I can for the community.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Where are you from?
I'm actually born and raised in Imperial Beach.
Okay.
I am a San Diegan, though. There's not many of us that are born and raised here.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, welcome.
Any questions?
You have any questions, gentlemen? No, we just wish you welcome and hope that it goes very well for you.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here. Looking forward to working with all of you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Tim Jengst.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Hi there. I live on South Magnolia Avenue between Chase and Cajon View. My problem today is a prostitution ring working on the street in front of my house. Additionally, drug addicts, criminals, and the mentally ill spend the night out on the street right in front of my house. These people have recently tore down a fence on my property and stole some of my belongings. 2 weeks ago, they were trying to break into my truck when the alarm went off at 3:30 in the morning. The prostitutes leave their calling cards on the street, right in front of my house. Apparently, when you're in that business, you use an extraordinary amount of tissues to keep clean. Lucky for them, when they finish, all they need to do is roll down the window of their car and deposit the tissues on the road right in front of my house. You may not know that the customers of these prostitutes have a wide variety of interests. Beyond simple sex for money, they enjoy pastimes such as shooting up various drugs, drinking alcohol, and are true connoisseurs of the Jack in the Box hamburger. In any event, whether it's hypodermic needles, beer bottles, or the remnants of an ultimate cheeseburger, they simply roll down the window and decorate my road with their debris. I am requesting red curb and no parking signs from Cajon View north to Chase to the KB Homes to the north of that area to discourage this criminal activity. I'm also requesting a street light. The total darkness is an attractive nuisance for this criminal activity. Finally, I'm asking for some help from the police. But to get that, I have to go through you. The police tell me they will come when they can. That means 2 or 3 hours later, or even the next day. At this point, I am the only person who is confronting these people. I am constantly threatened by them. I believe the city of El Cajon is not meeting the minimum standard of protection for its citizens, and that means me. Police protection should be the city's #1 priority. If it is the city's top priority and it cannot keep up with the crime, then maybe we should be looking at increasing their budget. I would like to hear what you all have to say about this, and hopefully I would have somebody to work with to try to get this thing under control.
Well, first off, thank you for coming. I'm truly sorry to hear these problems. I'm going to ask Graham, would you make sure that he gets a contact person to work with?
Certainly. This is the first time I'm hearing of this. We'll reach out and we will take care of this.
What I ask you to do, sir, is work with Graham and his team and then come back and tell us either at the next council meeting or the council meeting after that how it's going. If you're not satisfied still, then we'll look into other options.
Just one more thing here, just so you know who I am. I've only moved in there about 2 years ago, and I live on the property. I live above the school, but there's a big vacant area there with a guy that's going to eventually develop that. Now, they used to have 3 houses on that property that were inhabited by 30-something homeless people. I tried to get help from, I never went to the city council. I tried to get help from somebody in the city building. No help. Went to the police department. They say, yeah, they've been there for years. We ain't going to do nothing about it. So I went to the school, and I passed out a bunch of flyers to all the parents, letting them know who their neighbors were. I got cooperation from the school. We went to the city, and we started to work on that program. Right away, within a week, these homeless criminals, one of them firebombed the house right next to the school. And the house went up. I worked with the owner of that property to get the permits through and get rid of the homeless out of there. Then we still had them on the street, and me and the neighbors, we go up to these guys and you know, argue with them and get them out of there. We got them out of there. They were gone. They've come back in a wave just now. And it's terrible. And there's only one, at this point now, there's only one of me. I'm tired. And I'm trying to get this thing fixed. But, man, I'm doing it myself.
You're perfectly within your rights to ask us to help. And we will help. But I'd like you to keep us informed, because if you don't come and talk to us or write us an email, then sometimes we don't know about things that are happening. So I really appreciate your input.
Great. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Jim Sirigliano.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, staff. Just real quickly, you know, one thing that always impresses me when I come is the education I get from listening to some of these speakers with wonderful presentations. Cindy, the lady she was excellent presentation.
Yeah, she's smart.
What I'd like to speak about right now is about the applications for the vacant council seat. Now, maybe you can help me. I'm not sure of the process. You know, you look at the news media, they say that they're going to be voting, you know, and without any timeline or no mention about the application meeting this evening. So maybe you can educate me on that, the timeline or something like that there. And, you know, I just hope that the selection, and even that I'm not certain how exactly that's going to go, is a very fair and honest. You know, we do need change on the city council to fill that seat. And I hope it's someone that's transparent when they get up to speak this evening, because it's going to have a big influence on the community. Like Mr. Ibarra said, you know, he used the phrase "good old boys," you know. And I think what he was saying was maybe there's a lack of trust, okay? No matter how the process goes, you know, that's already been decided. But that's something I wanted to speak about. And I haven't forgotten about the seniors, by the way. I still am battling for them, especially with the mobile homes. Mr. Mayor, congratulations going to Washington.
Thank you.
For National Prayer Day. I hope you said a special prayer for our president, and you can take that either way. But no. But the thing is, we may disagree, but we're in this all together. Sure. And that's the main thing of what I really want to say today. And I do expect that there's going to be a lot of religion heard about between now and next year, primaries and everything else. And I just hope it isn't hypocritical, because sometimes it is. I've seen it, and I don't like it because, like I said, we're in this all together. And using maybe the three most familiar religions that we deal with, some of them say, peace be with you, shalom, and salam. And that's just for three of them. There's a lot more out there. And that's basically all I have to say for today, okay? And thank you for listening again.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Our last speaker is Harold Brown.
Hi, Harold. Welcome.
Mayor, council, staff. I'm sorry that Grossmont Cuyamaca School District left, because I really wanted to. I'm going to tell you anyway. All my kids went to Grossmont Cuyamaca, and I have probably one of the busiest days of my life almost coming up on Saturday, May 18th, because my oldest son, David, who graduated from Grossmont Cuyamaca with AA, and I don't know if it was that special AA, but he did go to SDSU, and he will walk, graduating with his bachelor's degree in computer science on Saturday at 6 o'clock in the morning. And we probably are told we have to get there at 4:30 or so, just to get in there, because 10,000 students are graduating that day. And then there's this little thing called, my other three kids are also enrolled in Grossmont Cuyamaca College, so I really love Grossmont Cuyamaca College. But then there's this other event happening on Saturday, May 18th, called America on Main Street, where East County Transitional Living Center will be bringing down 20 to 40, I don't know how many volunteers to help during the day of all the festivities, setting the stage up. And then we will be there helping to take all of that down, so that Sunday morning when we come and visit our streets in El Cajon, they'll be clean and like nothing happened, And so thank you for the opportunity to be able to serve that way. And then there's this little event happening up at Skyline Church at 6 p.m., comedy night to support East County Transitional Living Center. The doors will open at 6 up at Skyline Church, and all are welcome to come. Even if you don't have a ticket, come on up and enjoy a night of comedy on us. And if you have a ticket, thank you for your support. There'll be plenty of opportunity for you to donate or do something to help the organization and help us do what we do to help serve our community. So thank you for all you're doing. Our prayers are with all of you. And thank you for the opportunity to be able to have so many of our people who are going through our program to be able to have a place to come and volunteer and be able to serve. So. Thank you.
Thanks, Harold. Bob?
Don't you have a lot of your people that go through your facility that attend Grossmont Cuyamaca, or at least
we do
online or something?
We encourage them to not only once they get a job, but continue their education, and so they can get a better job.
Yeah.
So it's all part of what we do is education.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thank you for everything you do for the community.
Thanks, Pastor Harold.
Mayor, we received one more card.
Sure.
From George Ibarra.
Hey, George.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, City Council members, City staff. I just want to thank you for the process you're undertaking here to fill Mr. Ben Calasho's seat. I hope it's fair and equitable to the entire citizenry of El Cajon, not just a certain portion thereof. I'm sure you'll do the job that you need to do to make that happen. I also, one thing that I really want to address, and thank you for this opportunity to come before you, is our senior citizen mobile home parks. I don't know exactly how to start the process. I know other cities have it, but to bring some kind of rent control, because our senior citizens are the fabric of this country. They did lay the foundation for each and every one of us that are here. And I would like to see them not displaced. Many of them are losing their homes because they get only a certain amount from their Social Security, and now they're being outpriced for space rent. So if there's any way we can get something like that going, that would be much appreciated.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks, sir.
Thanks again.
Before we continue, I want to recognize we've got Karen Clark Mejia here from the El Cajon Valley School Board. Hi. And Joe Alegria is here. Hi, Joe. And David was here, but he ran away, sensing that I would call him. So Thanks for coming today. Are you guys here for a specific item? You're being punished? You're being punished, so you have to be here?
We will have to run out for our own board meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. All right, there are no written communications on today's agenda. And we are now at public hearings. Item 12 is an introduction of an ordinance approving zoning code amendment 437. And staff, would you tell us about this, please?
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. The item before you is Omnibus Zoning Code Update, Zoning Code Amendment number 437. And so just diving right into it, each year staff identifies potential technical cleanups and some substantive changes during the routine administration of the zoning code. This year there are a number of modifications for consistency and clarity, for streamlined review processes, and to establish some objective standards in order to reduce ambiguity in the code. Moving right along then to the first notable changes. The First Amendment proposes to allow for up to 4 adult ordinary household pets, which is dogs and cats, per dwelling, and an additional adult animal via an administrative zoning permit. The code currently does allow for 4 adult pets, but it specifies that it's limited to 2 dogs and 2 cats. So this would provide a little bit of flexibility for homeowners. And this was also subsequent to reviewing standards in neighboring jurisdictions and throughout the region, and then also due to requests to animal control for additional licensing of animals. There's also some updates to a subsection of the performance standards for property upkeep. And this involves keeping front and exterior yard areas clear of debris, trash and debris, other items such as dilapidated furniture, or sometimes we have issues with dumping of appliances. And so this really does provide a tool for code compliance staff to address issues of cleanliness throughout the city. Moving along, there are proposed updates to the accessory structures section of code to establish setbacks in conjunction with structure height, and those standards would be in alignment with the standards for accessory dwelling units. So in the future, if these accessory structures were converted to units, they would already meet the setback standards for those accessory dwellings. It also proposes a requirement for a minor use permit for those exceptionally large accessory structures over 1,200 square feet, and that would be to address any potential incompatibility with surrounding residential uses and development. And there's also updates proposed for the single-family review procedures. The proposed updates would include objective standards for architectural design, as well as compatibility with the existing primary dwellings. It also provides more flexibility in the choice of finishing material for those accessory structures, and establishes a baseline for architecture design. Moving on then, there's also proposed changes to allow for new restaurants with on-sale alcoholic beverage service through a minor use permit in the regional commercials, that's the CR zone only. The minor use permit is subject to the same findings and conditions as the current process, which is a conditional use permit. And just to, point out where the CR zone is located throughout the city, it's mostly in the downtown and the Parkway Plaza Mall area. And so this would be a streamlined process for these newer restaurants locating in those areas. There's also updates proposed for restaurant parking. This is to repurpose some of our existing smaller commercial buildings and sites. Currently, the code requires 1 parking space per 100 square feet of gross floor area for that restaurant. The proposed would change that to meet the same standards as other general retail uses, which is 1 space per 250 square feet. Moving along then. Freestanding wireless communication facilities, the proposed modifications would remove the requirement for a specific plan to exceed the height in the underlying zone. It would also establish a cap at 70 feet for these facilities. The facility would still require a conditional use permit and would be subject to the same stealth design standards and placement standards that currently exist in the code. And then finally, it's proposed to remove the requirement for a specific plan for the creation of a panhandle lot, a flag lot in the RS6 zone. So the R6 zone is currently the only residential zone that requires a specific plan to create the flag lot. And this would obviously, the proposed would obviously streamline the process for the creation of new single-family homes in such lots. And then to wrap this up, Planning Commission at the hearing held on April 2nd, 2 members of the public representing the Realtors Association spoke regarding the owner occupancy requirements for new accessory dwelling units. In particular, they were in favor of exemptions from the requirement for owner occupancy and specifically cited the City of Chula Vista's exemptions. And after the hearing and public testimony and the discussion, Planning Commission directed staff to research and present those exemptions to City Council for their consideration. An excerpt from their code was in the agenda packet, and I just want to summarize it really quickly. Their code provides up to a 5-year suspension from the occupancy requirements in a handful of cases, those being where the owner's health requires them to be temporarily placed in assisted living, where the owner is required to move outside of the region for employment purposes or military service, in cases where the property owner is required to move elsewhere to care for an immediate family member, and then also in the case that the property is received through settlement of an estate. And at this point, no changes are proposed to the owner occupancy requirement in order basically to preserve the single-family character of our kind of long-standing neighborhoods and also maintain a high level of property maintenance. But that is what Planning Commission would like brought up today. And then moving on, the Planning Commission had made the recommendation for City Council approval as is, taking into account what we just discussed. And staff also recommends approval of the amendment as presented. Therefore, the recommendation to City Council, the recommendation is that City Council moves to introduce the next ordinance in order, approving zoning code amendment number 437, and directs the city clerk to read the ordinance by title only. That concludes the presentation, and we're available for any questions.
Great, thank you. Nice presentation. Council, have any questions? That's Steve.
Spencer, how are you? Can you tell me something about the pets? I think some people would say that's great that you're going to allow 4 dogs instead of 2 dogs, 2 cats. But I can see a concern with some people in smaller dwellings, such as apartments with 4 dogs. Do you have any history or knowledge of code compliance complaints with those kind of situations?
So staff did actually discuss this, and I think overall a lot of private property owners already have standards that they apply to their apartment buildings where they regulate how many pets you can have, how much they can weigh, that sort of thing, if they allow pets at all. But also we look back through at least the code compliance records that we receive, so code compliance complaints. And dating back to 2012, there's only been a handful of cases reported to at least code compliance staff. Animal control might have other complaints as well, but I don't have that with me right now.
Okay, thank you. Couple other questions. The change in the on-sale alcohol process, going from a conditional use permit, which is a full public hearing and that kind of thing, but we're going to change it to a minor use permit, which could be at the discretion of the Director of Community Development. Does that reduce visibility of the number of places that could offer alcohol? Would the Planning Commission and the Council still have noticed that there is an application in?
So we can provide updates if you would like once the Director has reviewed and denied or approved one of those applications for a minor use permit.
I think it might be helpful to know before the Director rules on something so that the public is aware of any additional alcohol establishments.
Correct. And there also is the noticing period for a minor use permit. It's very similar to a conditional use permit where owners within 300 feet of the subject property will get notification.
I'd like to recommend to city staff that Council or Planning Commission or both receive notice of that as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bob?
Yes. Every now and then you read in the paper about somebody has multiple pets or animals, like 69 cats or 70 dogs or whatever. And, have we had any of that problem in the city of El Cajon? Or maybe the citizens should let you know, because of the fact that it is a nuisance in a neighborhood when somebody has big multiples of animals.
Right.
Aside from chickens, I think they can have chickens.
I'm going to recognize our Director of Planning, Tony Shute.
Mayor and Council, yes. Well, routinely, either co-compliance staff or animal control do receive complaints about numerous animals, and with the help of animal control, we do address those. They're rare, but they do happen, either cats, rabbits, dogs on occasion.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
And if I might add, before we conclude, I think we missed introducing Spencer Hayes. Spencer is our assistant planner and has been with the city for a couple of years now and has been a great asset to the community development department.
Spencer. Gary, anything?
Yeah, I share Steve's concern, so I would like to get something from the planning department said these are the applications, that are coming up.
Mr. Kendrick, one of the things that we talked about as part of this discussion is we're pushing more and more things toward a minor use permit, and we recognize that there's some value as we notice a project that we notice we CC the City Council and the Planning Commission, so there's just broader awareness amongst policymakers and the Planning Commission of these projects. So we're going to incorporate that as part of our practice. It's something we talked about earlier this week.
Okay, that's great.
There wouldn't be any liquor stores opened under this policy, would there?
No, so this is for on-sale restaurants.
Restaurants, thank you. Okay, because I think we got enough liquor stores. Probably too many.
I have a question about the accessory dwelling units. So, as I understand it, what you're saying is the only people that can live in the accessory dwelling units would be family of the owners of the house.
Not necessarily. So the occupancy requirement is that the property owner live in one of the two units. So that would be the primary or the accessory. So the accessory unit could be rented out to someone other than family.
Oh, okay. Well, that answers that question. Is that kind of the standard that we're seeing in the community? Because I know that the state is pushing for us to have more affordable housing. And just out of curiosity, was San Diego is moving to strike all fees for accessory dwelling units? Isn't that right?
Mayor and Council, you're correct. County of San Diego has a subsidy program in tune of $5 million right now to encourage accessory dwelling units. City of San Diego is looking at waiving off fees to encourage accessory dwelling units. And you're right, the state of California is also looking at potentially removing the occupancy requirement that cities have control of now.
Okay. I'm just wondering if we could get a brief report sometime about the fees that we have associated with building an accessory dwelling unit and what our options would be with that. It's off the subject, but thank you. Okay, I think, Spencer, we've...
One more.
More questions.
Any idea how many ADUs, accessory dwelling units, have been built in El Cajon in the past couple of years?
About 20.
About 20?
I'm hearing.
Okay.
In 2 years.
My only concern there would be, especially when you're going close to a property line, as this code thing addresses, if it is over 12 feet, if it becomes a two-story structure, that we're very mindful about the views that a second story has down on their neighbors. I realize there's a fire code related to that for windows, but as we approve designs, let's be mindful of people looking down at other people's yards.
All right, Spencer, nice job.
All right, thank you.
All right. The public hearing is now open. Angela, do we have any speaker cards for this item?
We have no cards, sir.
Then I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. Move and second, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
We had a pretty robust discussion. Would somebody like to make a motion or talk about it more?
Motion to introduce the next ordinance.
Second. Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote, and with your permission, sir, I will recite the title.
Only if you're going to do it by memory. No.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of El Cajon implementing the zoning code omnibus for 2019 by amendments to Title 17 of the El Cajon Municipal Code as follows. Chapter 17.10, Administration, Interpretation, and Enforcement. Section 17.10.010, Administration, Interpretation, and Enforcement. Chapter 17.115, General Land Use Regulations and Performance Standards. Section 17.115.130, Performance Standards. Chapter 17.140, Residential Zones. Section 17.140.060, Residential Lot Requirements. 17.140.120, Accessory Structures. 17.140.170, Single Family Dwelling Review Procedures. 17.140.180, Accessory and Junior Accessory Dwelling Units. And 17.140.210, Residential Land Use Table. Chapter 17.145, Commercial Zones, Section 17.145.150, Commercial Land Use Table, Chapter 17.185, Parking Standards, Sections 17.185.140, Joint Use Driveways, and 17.185.190, Commercial Zone Parking Requirements. Chapter 17.205, Agriculture and Animals, Section 17.205.030, Ordinary Household Pets. Chapter 17.210, Alcohol Sales and Deemed Approved Alcohol Sales Regulations. Sections 17.210.080, Conditional Use Permit Required. 17.210.100, Operational Standards. 17.210.130, New and Modified On-Sale Establishment Standards. 17.210.140, Distance Requirements, New and Modified On-Sale Alcohol Standards. 17.210.140, Distance Requirements, New and Modified On-Sale Alcohol Establishment Standards. And 17.210.160, Required Findings, New and Modified On-Sale Alcohol Establishment Standards. Chapter 17.225, Miscellaneous Special Uses and Regulations. Section 17.225.090, Outdoor Dining Areas. And Chapter 17.245, Wireless Communication Facilities. Section 17.245.080, Permit Required. And 17.245.080, Development and Design Standards.
Nicely done. Okay. Moving on then to item 13, which is a report on the City Council appointment process. And staff, would you please tell us about this?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. The purpose of this agenda item is to discuss the method by which the Council wants to not only hear from, but then discuss or eventually select an applicant to serve in the open City Council position. Staff has prepared a report for this item, and in that report, staff's identified 3 different options that the Council may wish to consider. We recognize that there's a lot more options than just the 3, but we provided the 3 as maybe a starting point and maybe hone or narrow down the thought process that the Council may have. Just really quickly, the options include allow each applicant to make a presentation, and then based on the merits of that presentation and the merits of their application, the Council would then make a selection of who they would like to fill the appointment. The other option is after each presentation is given, the Council could ask several questions of the applicants. That could be a question from each council member. It could be some predetermined questions that may be 2 questions per applicant. We would recommend that there is some uniformity in the questions. That way, one candidate or one applicant doesn't get a softball question and another gets a Trevor Hoffman type question. So it would be a little fair to do it that way. The third option is allow presentations to occur. Then based on, the presentations and the merit of the applications, the Council would narrow down the field by nominating several individuals to move forward. that would grant the council, frankly, more time to maybe delve into some deeper questions on the application and create maybe a deeper vetting of the applicants to that process. There are clearly some pros and cons with each of these. Time happens to be one of the pros and cons because you have 20 applicants now, originally 22, 2 have since dropped out. We just received word that a third will not be able to make it tonight, so now you're down to 19 applicants. So the field's already narrowed slightly, but staff's here to help the council walk through the process that they would like to see. Whichever process is chosen, staff has indicated to all the applicants that we're going to meet with them at 6:45, 15 minutes before the meeting, just to go over what the procedure is so there's full understanding of what that will look like. That'll be something that the city clerk and I will do with the candidates. We would also recommend at that time that we would draw names so there'd be some randomization of how you hear from the applicants, not just alphabetical, and we would provide that list to the council once those names are drawn. So with that, staff's here to answer any questions or help council in their dialogue.
Well, thanks, Graham. I appreciate that. Any questions of Graham or staff before we move on? All right. Then I'm going to ask Angela if there's any speaker cards.
We have one speaker, Bonnie Price.
Hi, Bonnie.
Hi. I did a little research, didn't have much time, but I'm sharing with you a list of population characteristics from El Cajon that I thought you should consider in addition to your own criteria for appointment. I searched Sandag data and the U.S. Census, which is what the Sandag uses, as well as a registrar of voters. The population estimates for 2020 for the city of El Cajon is 109,587. There are more men than women, slightly, but I recommend you consider appointing a woman since there is not a single one on the council. There was a couple of years ago, Star Bales, but as you know, she lost her election. There are 49.3% females in this city. And ethnicity, white is 73% of the population, and Hispanic is 29.5%, which is 30%. So using these demographics, it looks to me like if you have a Hispanic person, it should be a female and Hispanic. Ages, we have 62% of the population between age 18 and 65, so that looks like a good group to appoint from. Education, most people in El Cajon, 82% are high school graduates. So I would suggest you appoint someone who's at least a high school graduate. There are very few in El Cajon, according to census, that have college degrees. And I know you're exceptional up there, which is not unusual for cities and school boards. Housing, 73% of the housing units in the city are rental units. So ideally, a renter should be represented on the council. The median income for 2017, which means you have an equal number above, an equal number below. It's not the average or mean. It's $50,000. And using other data, I saw that El Cajon is now second from the bottom in terms of poverty. So National City is at the bottom, according to current population characteristics from Census Bureau. And Democratic Party is about equal with the Republican Party, and there's no Democrat on the council. So that ends my recommendations for your consideration. Unfortunately, I won't be here tonight to see, but I hope you think about these things when you're making your appointments, in addition to what qualities you know you're looking for. You have any questions?
No, thanks, Bonnie. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That's the last speaker.
No more speakers, sir.
Okay. Well, council, it's back to you. Us? Any thoughts? Why don't I start? So I had really thought about this as far part of the idea is to not prolong this until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm thinking that what would you think if each one of us chose 2 or 3, probably 3 people that were our top contenders, then we brought those people up. Each one of us brings 3 forward. There'll be some duplication, so there'll be less than 12. And we ask those people questions and then make a decision based upon that. That's my thought. We're open to any other ideas.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, Mr. Mayor. I think we really need to do a deep vetting here, delve into each candidate's experience and philosophy.
Okay, any other thoughts? Steve?
One thought I had would be to say, after hearing from all 19 candidates, if we each created a list of between 4 to 6 names each, and only those names that get at least 2 votes among the 4 of us go to the next round. In other words, if I put forth a name that's among mine but it only gets 1 vote, it's probably not going to get 4 votes. But if it gets 2 votes, it goes on to the next round, and we kind of advance the field that way.
I don't mind that.
And after the second round, then we could ask questions of whoever's left.
I don't mind that. Gary, you have any thoughts on that? Make sure it's legal.
I'm okay with that. So what we'd have is each one of us would propose, how many names? 4 names?
Up to 6. After hearing from the 19 candidates, each one of us would write up to 6 names that we would like to advance to the next round.
And the ones that get 2 votes.
And the ones that get 2 votes
go to the finals.
Go to the finals.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it.
Like a very
We
democratic way.
we could have 6 or less, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And it says, do we say this in public? Do we write this down on a piece of paper?
I think the suggestion is having sheets of paper, you write them down, and then the city clerk would identify the council member making the nomination, so to speak, of each of those that each council member has selected, and then keep tabs of which of those reach at least 2 recommendations from the council.
Okay, actually, that's the way they did it when I was appointed to the Grossmont-Cuyamaca Community College District Governing Board back in 1997.
So it must be successful
But
then.
unfortunately, it went for like 3 meetings. And at the last meeting, I got it, and the newspaper guy says, "Do you have an 8x10 glossy of yourself? Because I didn't think you were going to get appointed, so I didn't take your picture last time." I go, "No, I don't keep one in my back pocket."
Well, we're not going to go 3 meetings. We'll get this done by sunrise for sure. All right.
So
sounds like a good
one
plan.
thought is, as we make our lists, we each do them independently, so that if you're last, for instance, if I go first and you go last, you don't know my 6 picks, and you can adjust your picks accordingly.
I agree with that, because it gives an imbalance of power to different members. Yeah, I totally agree.
My suggestion is the list be handed to the city clerk, and then she reads each one individually, and we'll tally them from there.
And do we have a board where we can write that up so everybody can see?
I don't think they'd like my marker on this nice clean board. We could try something.
We can actually put it into a PowerPoint slide.
Oh, perfect.
Perhaps.
Because I want this audience to be able to follow
stress
along.
out our IT folks, but we can do that, I think, if you can endure my typing.
But we want to get out of here tonight.
Yeah, there you go. But that would make it could be really visible that way if that's the direction of the council.
All right, do you need a vote on this, or just
a
consensus?
couple more things. One, so how much time do you want to allot for each speaker? If you're going to be going through this vetting process, would you recommend 2 minutes?
I recommend 2 minutes.
For the first round.
For the first round. Yeah. And then perhaps 1 or 2 questions from each council member?
On the second round.
On the second round?
Optional.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So do we need to vote on this, or can we just take consensus?
So just for clarification, we start out with we've reviewed their applications, and then we each have our maybe up to 6 people.
Well, they're gonna give their 2 minutes.
Oh, you're gonna have everybody give the 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you need to vote on it. I think we have an understanding of what your idea might be or is, and we can work it out.
Fair enough. All right, we'll see how it goes tonight. All right, there are no commission reports today. Item 14 is my activities report. Item 15 is a legislative report update, and I'll ask our Assistant City Manager, Vince DiMaggio, to provide that update.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I just want to brief you on a couple of items that are making their way through Sacramento that are of note. AB 392 is an interesting bill. It's a very serious bill that sets specific conditions statewide for when deadly force can be used by our police officers. This is opposed by the League of California Cities just because, obviously, the situations in which deadly force is employed are fluid, and they don't lend themselves to criteria that can apply across the board. This is not in a suspense file status right now, so it's still an active bill going through hearings. What the hope is by the League of California Cities is that a companion measure, which is SB 230 by Senator Caballero, seeks to allow local law enforcement to establish their own policies for use of force. However, this is in the suspense file. Now, that doesn't mean that one can change or the other, but they are competing bills, and generally speaking, Caballero's bill is more favorable to city governments because it allows cities to establish their own standards and policies for use of deadly force, as long as they correspond with broad principles that are introduced into the bill. AB 516 is another important bill for code enforcement. It removes the ability to tow vehicles left on public streets over 72 hours. It also removes or deletes the ability for the city to tow vehicles that are parked on public streets with expired registrations. Completely removes this opportunity to kind of keep neighborhoods clean. Obviously, I think we've all been aware of cars that are just parked in front of other houses that are just left there inoperable, and it's good for the neighborhood that if they are left there, there's a procedure in place where eventually they can be towed. This would do away with all that. Again, it's not in the suspense file. It's an active bill that's currently going through, opposed by the League of California Cities. AB 1332 requires the Department of Justice to publish a list of businesses and individuals that are complying with federal immigration policy. This is basically seen as a list, a hall of shame, if you will. If you're employing, if you're complying with the federal immigration policy, your name, your business, etc., goes out there, and it's thought that it would be used by certain interest groups to not use those businesses if you happen to be on that side of the spectrum of the argument. So again, it's opposed by the League of California Cities. I reported earlier at our last meeting about AB 1356, which is the retail cannabis sales. That is currently in the suspense file. So if that stays there, it's essentially going to be dead for this session. Lastly is SB 635 by WASO here locally. And that eliminates the state taxation of capital gains from opportunity zones. That was one of the big issues about whether or not opportunity zones in the state of California would be successful. We're a high-tax state. A lot of investment money was going to states like Texas and other states that don't have state income tax. And because the federal income tax on capital gains coming out of opportunity zones is zero under certain circumstances and most circumstances, there was a lot of pressure to match that at the state level. So currently this is in the suspense file, but it's scheduled for hearing later on this month where it can change status. We're hoping that it does do that because it would be very positive for investors of opportunity zones to have the same treatment as the federal income tax on capital gains. And that concludes my report.
Thanks, Vince. Nice job.
Bill?
Bob?
Got a question about that one on employers that check on immigration things. If they go through the federal government and check to see if they're a legal resident with their Social Security, and I know that there's a process for that, they wouldn't be on the list then, would they?
That's not, I don't believe so. What it's essentially saying are businesses and or individuals that have some sort of interaction with the federal immigration policy, and who are complying with the federal directives in that regard. The Department of Justice, the State Department of Justice would have to publish their name. But these are most likely people that deal directly with an immigration issue. I don't think it has anything to do, I have not read anything into the bill that says, if someone that's not directly related with the immigration issue, their business would be, put on the list as well. It's mostly people who have direct involvement with immigration issues.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much, Vince. All right. We're now on to activities reports for council members. Councilmember Gary Kendrick.
I need to add the water, let's see, Graham, what is the name of that?
The Advanced Pure Water Water Purification.
Advanced Water Purification meeting on this last Monday.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember McClellan. As reported. Councilmember Goebel.
You got to strike the Rotary dedication. I didn't make that one, but I did make the Advanced Water Purification meeting on Monday as well.
Great. There are no joint council member reports today. There are no general information items on today's agenda, and there are no first readings of ordinances for adoption today. That brings us to closed session, and our city attorney will recite the title and lead us into closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council will be meeting in closed session on two items. The first, item 19, is a closed session for conference with the legal counsel on existing litigation pursuant to paragraph 1 of subdivision D of section 54956.9 of the California Government Code. The name of the case is Murphy and Pitsley versus City of El Cajon. The second, item 20, is a conference with labor negotiations pursuant to Government Code section 54957.6. The agency's designated representatives are listed on the agenda. City Manager Graham Mitchell, Assistant City Manager Vince DiMaggio, Director of Finance Clay Shane, and Director of Human Resources Marisol Thorne. And the employee organizations are also listed. In fact, it's all of the, I believe, all of the organizations as listed on the agenda.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to make a motion then to adjourn the closed session. Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go to closed session. We'll be back as quick as we can to finish up the council meeting. Thank you very much.
You better work on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back from closed session, and our legal counsel will report on what happened.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council met in closed session on two items. Item 19 was a closed session for conference with legal counsel on existing litigation. And the name of the case is Murphy and Pitsley versus City of El Cajon. Direction was given to the city's legal counsel in this matter. On item 20, the City Council met in closed session for conference with labor negotiations with the agency's designated representatives who were present at the time, and involved all of the five organizations that the city's employees use, and direction was given to the labor negotiators on each of those.
Thank you, Council. This brings us to adjournment. The regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council and El Cajon Housing Authority held this 14th day of May 2019 is adjourned till Tuesday, May 14th, 2019 at 7 o'clock p.m. See you then.